This is the Ecommerce Braintrust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our Braintrust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Braintrust podcast. I'm Julie Spear, head of retail marketplace services at Acadia. And today I'm joined by Scott Fulton, Director of Sales and Marketing at Sunbulb. We'll be discussing the path that led him to overseeing sales for an industry-leading gardening company, how he approaches evaluating and growing more nascent channels in a mature, decades-old business, and hopefully, along the way, Scott will give me a gardening tip or two. So with that, welcome to the podcast, Scott. It's great to have you.
Well, thank you, Julie. It's nice to be here, and I look forward to our conversation.
Me too. Well, let's just dig right in and get started. And I'm going to start with those gardening tips. I am someone you can even see over my shoulder. I've got my plants. I have the best intentions when it comes to gardening. I'm getting better with keeping them alive. Were you an avid gardener before you joined Sunbulb? Do you have any tips for us amateur green thumbs now that you've been with the company for over 5 years?
Sure. Actually, I was not a true gardener before joining Sunbulb, but I have always grown, since I've been in Florida about 33 years, growing habanero peppers. It's a very hot pepper. However, since joining Sunbulb, I have expanded my growing into orchids, tomatoes, and other tropical plants, and I enjoy it. And as far as tips, feeding or fertilizing as recommended. And secondly, don't overcare for them. Specifically speaking to orchids, since a lot of customers we work with struggle with keeping the orchids alive, I will tell you the orchid loves neglect. They like to dry out between waterings. So the rule of thumb with that is water it once a week, and it doesn't take a lot of water. So if you want to keep your orchids specifically alive, neglect them.
I love that. I actually have an orchid that I've kept alive, I want to say for 4, maybe 5 years now. I have not moved it from its spot. I feel like if it's working, I'm not going to mess with it. And I've done I don't know if this is recommended or not, but I've done the trick of put a couple ice cubes in and let it melt. Yeah. And then that's the water for the week.
That's fine.
It's working for my orchid.
and it does. My grower doesn't like the ice on the roots.
A little too shocked.
Right, but it works, so I'll keep doing it.
Okay, all right. We'll keep that part between us. We won't let your grower know.
Thank you.
Well, you looking back at kind of your resume of the steps in your professional journey, you've done a lot of different things during your career. You started as a CPA. How does someone who starts in as a CPA end up overseeing sales and marketing for a large international gardening brand? Are there things that you use from your CPA days that you learned as an accountant that you apply to your current day-to-day?
Sure. Well, I live in Florida now, but back then I graduated from Central Michigan University. And from there I went to work for Deloitte in Detroit. I did have a rather diverse career. From there I moved to Florida with another CPA firm. Went with a small broker dealer. From there, I went to a startup business, didn't make it, and then we started my own business. I had my own online business for 15 years, selling dinnerware online. From there, I went to Tervis Tumbler, which is a tumbler company that it's made in America is the biggest claim, and they're guaranteed for life. But from there, I made it to Sunbulb, and it's been good. And I can tell you that I absolutely do use my accounting CPA background every day. It's given me a good understanding of costing, profitability for both Sunbulb and our customers. And I believe my accounting background makes me a more well-rounded salesperson.
I can appreciate that. Not that this conversation is about me in any way, but just I can identify my career did not start in digital marketing and retail.com marketing. It started in education. And I was a long time in education for 16 years. And I too feel that I draw on that experience every day, from being very process oriented to evaluating issues and communication. So I always appreciate hearing people's professional journeys, and when your starting point and where you are currently it looks vastly different. I think that makes for a very interesting, well-rounded approach in your career. So,
well, I think
something
it's
I
great.
can understand.
There we go.
Well, getting back to Sunbulb, it's a lot of things, and I know our audience would be familiar with your brand from Better Grow fertilizers and gardening products. Can you give me a quick refresher on all the major brands and product lines that make up the Sunbulb portfolio?
Absolutely. Sunbulb is unique in the garden center space because we supply our customers with live plants, orchid support products, which are our potting mixes, plant foods, wood baskets, ceramic pots. Then we have a separate plant food line, and then we have indoor planters. Typically in the garden center space, you'll be in one of those categories, not all four. So that's really what makes us unique. And of all these product lines, there are three major brands: Better Grow, Dynamite, and Surich. So our Better Grow brand is where our live plants are and our orchid support products. For live plants, for context, we're the largest supplier of orchids to Home Depot in the country, with Florida and Puerto Rico being our primary markets. And with Lowe's, we're the primary orchid and tropical plant supplier in coastal regions from Texas to Virginia Beach, and the secondary supplier in Florida. And then we also supply our live plants to independent garden centers across Florida and internationally. We ship internationally. And then we have our orchid support products, which are our potting mixes, plant foods. And what makes those unique is they carry the endorsement of the American Orchid Society. And we are the only orchid support products that carry that designation. So that sets it apart. Our plant food line is Dynamite. And with Dynamite, we have national distribution in both Lowe's and Home Depot for two products: Cactus and Succulent and Mater Magic. Now, I'm going to sound like a salesman here, but Dynamite is the best time-release plant food in the market. And by time release, it means you fertilize, and the plant food will reach the plants between 3 and 9 months. It releases over that time period. But what makes Dynamite superior is its prill. And the prill is the casing that holds the nutrients in and lets it out over time. Our biggest competitor in the market is Osmocote, which has been around forever. Osmocote's prill has slashes or gashes, where Dynamite's prill has little pinholes. Now, when you overwater Osmocote, all the nutrients in that prill release or flash through those slashes or gashes. But with Dynamite, when you overwater, those little pinholes actually close up when they become too saturated, and they'll start to release again once they get to the appropriate moisture level. So it is truly a time-release product. It's environmentally safe. Here in Florida, and I'm guessing everywhere, we don't like the runoff of fertilizers going into our waterways. Another thing is, if you go into Home Depot, Lowe's, Garden Center, even the grocery store, and buy a plant, it's probably already using Dynamite because it is what the growers use. So we've really taken professional grade time-release plant food and bottled it for consumers to buy. And the last little interesting thing about Dynamite is it's used in the space station to grow their fruits and vegetables. So it's that's an interesting thing. They're growing their stuff in outer space using Dynamite.
Oh, that's very cool. And yeah, your gardening tips have extended past my initial question. Now I know what I need to do for my next step with my own collection of plants in my house. That's really helpful.
And then there's one more brand that is under our umbrella. It's Surich. It's indoor pottery line. It's made in Germany. We've got 29 SKUs at Home Depot in about 2,000 stores. And then we have 20 SKUs at Menards, a Midwest retailer, in about 350 stores. Some background on Surich is they are the largest producer of indoor pots in the world, making over 60 million pots a year. And when you tour their production facilities is really amazing because there's 4 or 5 people running the whole plant because it's all robotic. They're just playing on the computer, making changes, maybe changing out the moving things out of the kiln, but it's really cool. They have an 85% market share in Europe, and they're looking to make, we're looking to make North America their second core market. What makes sure it's unique is they use white clay versus red. The pots are fired at 2,000 degrees versus 800. And the benefits of that are it's thinner and lighter. The pot itself is. It's very durable. You can drop it and it stays in one piece. And they are 100% waterproof. So if you set them on your nice furniture, you don't have to worry about it ever leaking or leaching. Mm-hmm. It makes it superior that way. It's truly an indoor pot.
So Sunbulb as a company, your depth and breadth in the gardening category is really significant. That's that you went into product lines that I wasn't even aware were associated with Sunbulb. Very interesting. So thinking about it, you joined Sunbulb in 2019. So that's right before COVID started. And we all know that COVID kind of brought about a major boon in the space of e-com. And also that reshaped the demand for home improvement and gardening and houseplants. I know that's actually when I started collecting houseplants.
Right.
What was that like for you as you're newer in the position, newer at the company, and you're in sales and marketing at a company that's really riding that wave and transforming itself along the way? Were there any particular lowlights or highlights from those first couple of years on the job?
Well, my timing was really good because our biggest challenge with being in the garden center space during COVID was keeping up with demand. I've mentioned it, but our 2 biggest customers are Home Depot and Lowe's, and they were designated as essential businesses during the pandemic. So as a result, we had record years in 2020 and 2021. And actually 2019 was. I didn't have a big hand in 2019, but then as you mentioned, the mindset of the consumer regarding home improvement, gardening, and houseplants has, was heightened then and it's remained strong. And as a result, we've continued to have record years in 2022 and 2023. And with an assist from Amazon and Acadia, 2024 is looking good too.
Yeah, I'd say you did join at a good time.
For this industry, for sure.
Yes, well done. A lot of the clients that we have at Acadia are CPG type brands, or they're beauty brands or home goods, where a D2C presence is a no-brainer distribution channel. But Sunbulb and its brands have been around for decades and really face a challenge that a different subset of our brands face. And that's, how do you plant the seeds, pun intended? Sorry for the obvious move there. But how do you plant the seeds for a B2C offering that doesn't conflict with much larger established brick and mortar sales channels like Home Depot and Lowe's? As someone who played a critical role in this at Sunbulb, I'm interested in anything you learned from trying to launch a D2C presence, as well as why Amazon has fit that channel for you.
It is a challenge. However, I will say that the big box stores have become less sensitive to having products that are in their stores also sold online. Additionally, whenever possible, we make the Amazon ASIN unique. For example, Home Depot sells our black cow fertilizer in a 1 pound or 1 cubic foot bag, which is approximately 35 pounds. And at Amazon, we offer it in an 8-quart bag, which is about 6 pounds. So we create that differentiation. Mm-hmm. Also, as long as retail stay in line, there's less pushback there too. As long as we don't have the online selling, undercutting the in-store retail, they're typically fine with it. And then, related to Amazon, we currently don't sell from our own website, and it was primarily due to historical pushback from our big box partners. And today, Amazon provides us with that outlet with a tremendous reach that obviously we'd never have from our own website. So it's been, and again, with Acadia's help, it's been very successful.
Well, making that shift is all about getting buy-in of leadership. And so when you think about long established brick and mortar heavy focused organizations like Sunbulb and people that sit in leadership roles like yourself, do you have any advice on how people can nudge their organizations into adopting more of a B2C channel, particularly organizations that are less well suited to make the transition, or there's some hesitation about rocking the boat on distributor or retail relationships? There's that often can really hold brands back, the worry about rocking that boat. Is there a way that you measure the opportunity of e-com or Amazon and communicate it internally to the leadership team?
Well, I believe we're at a point in time where any and all wholesale businesses must have an online presence. And as I mentioned before, when developing a strategy, when possible, develop an offering for .com that is slightly different from what's being offered at brick and mortar. I would also recommend, if your B2C solution is Amazon, engage an Amazon consultant. And I can say I recommend Acadia, because with Acadia's guidance and expertise, it has contributed greatly to our ongoing success and growth with Amazon.
I didn't actually ask you to say that last line, but I do appreciate it.
I was not prompted. That was all me.
No, not at all. Well, and really, ultimately, when it comes down to it, this podcast is all about nerding out on Amazon and marketplaces. But I love when I have someone from the brand side come on and have a conversation about, their journey and how they got onto Amazon and what Amazon means to them. Also learning about what is ahead for the brand. Is there anything new and exciting in the gardening world that we might be able to see and want in our homes in the coming months and years? And anything specific to Sunbulb that you've got in the works?
Sure. I'm not sure you or your listeners will find this all exciting, but we're in the process of launching our live plants on Amazon. And what's really cool about that is we can really tell a story on Amazon. We can talk about the benefits, decorating ideas, plant care instructions. We can go so much deeper with the consumer and provide them with so much more information than we can at brick and mortar. It makes it very unique. And one other aspect of our live plant business that is different from our 1P is we're doing fulfillment direct to consumer here from our facility on the live plants. And I guess the good news about that is logistically it's the same process for both, meaning as far as processing the orders. The difference being, instead of shipping pallet loads of ASINs to Amazon, we're shipping one little box or two little boxes to our direct consumer.
I actually do find that exciting. I only became aware of live plants being sold on Amazon a couple years ago, and I bought my first one like a year ago. So to know that the selection is growing with Sunbulb products, that I do find that change exciting. So I'll be on the lookout for sure.
There we go. We're excited about it too.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your story. I am hopeful. I'm going to add some dynamite to my plant care regimen. So hopefully you'll be seeing some maybe brighter green plants in the background.
There we go.
The next time we meet. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Julie, and happy growing.
Thank you.